Good evening. Welcome back to Square Feet again on another episode. We have been talking about two great apartment projects in Melbourne CBD from our last two episodes. Today we are going to talk about some interesting facts in current Sri Lankan economic situation and how that is impacting to apartment and property market. And also with that, we are going to talk about how our viewers can utilize this market and get advantage out of that and protect your assets and currencies with this financial situation. To talk about the Sri Lankan property market, we have today Tikshana Somaratna, is Dwellings Group Director and my property director who's reside in Colombo. Because of that, he is coming from the ground and having a lot of inside information about what is happening, how we can utilize these current market conditions in Sri Lanka. And also we have been talking about our two projects in Colombo. One of the main project was 333 Pinnacle, Nigambu, which is beachfront apartment project that has enormous success and a great demand, especially from overseas buyers because of the location and the quality of the project. So we want to talk about that as well as how other apartment projects performing in this volatile Sri Lankan financial situation. So Tikshana, how is Sri Lanka these days? Everyone talking about the economy and everyone is a bit cautious and suspicious about what is happening. Our currency rates are not very attractive. US dollar is now buying at about more than 170.
Correct.
All these things impacting. And shall we just talk about a little bit about the market condition, Tikshana? What everyone's talking about this?
That's correct, Sanjay. In Sri Lanka, there are a lot of hiccups in the economy, especially the U.S. market is U.S. economy is getting stronger. That really impacts the Sri Lankan rupee because the U.S. dollar is going up, and that is a global situation. But there are internal issues also within the country that impacts
Driving
this,
the rupee
exactly
going down
this
the
situation. So from the property market's point of view, there are a lot of, if you look at the luxury apartment projects in Colombo and surrounding areas, those projects are really impacted due to this situation because most of the high-end projects are priced in US dollars. So
yes. So if a project priced in US dollars, then
Yeah.
I think they are safe in this situation, right? Because the dollar prices remain at the same time,
Correct.
so their buying
Correct.
power is remains.
Correct,
But
but-
people who have priced in rupees having really hard time in this situation.
Yeah, there are two sides because if you look at the developer side, yes, they are safe because they have priced it in US dollars. But from the buyer's point of view, they are looking at the conversion rate 170 compared to few months back it's 150.
Yes.
So the apartment price in rupees actually significantly increased.
So the buying power has dramatically reduced. The cost of buying materials and importing items to construct these apartment projects are now struggling because of the rupee value against the US dollar.
Correct. So two sides now. If you look at the developer's side, if they have priced it in US dollars, they are safe because they have covered it up because everything is priced in US dollars.
Yeah.
But then from the buyer side, as I said before, the prices actually, say for example, a $50 million rupees apartment.
Yeah.
Now is about 60 million because due to the increase in the US dollars.
So the developers are increasing the prices as well because of this matter. But Tikshana, now if let's say now if you have a project which apartments have already been sold on a rupee price 5 months ago, now when the developers trying to start the construction, that is a really big hit for them.
Yes, that's correct because now if you look at the market right now, there are so many projects under construction. So all those projects will hit by this dollar increase.
Yeah.
And the luxury projects, especially within the Colombo city limits, the sales process has actually stagnated because the buyers are a bit reluctant to buy them due to the economic situations in Sri Lanka as well as the dollar priced in dollars, and it's the actual price is actually in rupees, it's much more higher.
Right.
So that impacts the high luxury projects within the Colombo city limits.
Right.
But at the same time, if you look at the outskirts of Colombo, most of the apartment projects are priced in rupees.
Right.
And they are actually in the mid range where you're looking at about 40 million below.
Right.
Now, if you look at the Sri Lankan apartment market, Sri Lankan urbanization is much more lower compared to the countries in the same region. So there's a huge potential to grow, especially outskirts of Colombo.
Right.
So apartments in those areas, especially mid-range apartments, still have demand.
Right.
Because from buyer's point of view also, there's no much price difference because they are marked in rupees.
Right. Right. And so that means, say for example, if the apartment price was marked in rupees and still selling at the same prices, it is, you can still buy, you will be getting advantage out of that. But the thing is, when you're buying such projects, you have to be extra careful when you're selecting such developers.
Exactly.
They will be hitting hard on purchasing power. So if you're buying off the plan apartments, and if the construction has not been started,
Correct.
I think those developers will have a really hard time to kick off the project.
Correct.
So if for our viewers, Melbourne or other overseas buyers, if you're buying those apartments, be careful when you're buying an apartment in this environment. Make sure that you go to a project which at least piling has started or completed. So then we know for a fact that it is going ahead without any issue.
Also one more point is, especially if you look at the developer side and the project, if you see the project is approved by a certain bank for funding,
right,
or else the project is approved by banks for tripartite agreements to lend for the buyers, that will be really a safe project.
Safe project.
Yes.
So then we know that the banks have done their due diligence, and also release the developers have completed their pre-sale requirements to get the funding. So that means the funding is available, projects will go ahead, so you don't have any issue. The reason I'm pointing out this fact is simple reason. In Sri Lanka, we don't have a trust accounting system where the buyers pay the money into a trust account until the project completes. The money is safe because most of the developers, 99.9%, your initial deposits will be ended up in the construction as well. That is the common factor, so we can't change that. But within that environment, what we can do is we should make sure that we are going ahead with the reputed and trusted developers, and at least projects have already started. So that is one thing. And also, Teachana, I heard a lot of luxury apartment projects, either they have stopped marketing or either they have stopped construction until the market stabilize, because they cannot predict the rupee price against the US, so therefore they cannot risk the cost of construction.
So the rupee price, the depreciation of the rupee is one reason, and the instability of the economy in Sri Lanka is another reason. So people are a bit reluctant to invest huge amounts for apartments as investments, because most of them, especially business people, they want to get their business up and running and get the cash flow properly before investing in apartments or real estate. So that is a major factor. The situation right now we are facing in Sri Lanka is a major factor that the property industry has been stagnated.
Right.
So, but having said that, still there is a demand for the small boutique type apartments and mid-range apartments outskirts of Colombo.
Right. So with that explanation, Teachana, so the idea is city limit apartments happening in Colombo is at the moment going through some rough seas at the moment. So if you are going for Colombo city apartments, make sure you go to an apartment which has at least already started construction. The construction is going ahead, to make sure that your dollar, your money is safe in that investment. And other than that, what Teachana's point, outside of Colombo, where you have less number of projects, and also therefore you have high capital growth potential as well on those projects.
So if you look at say Negombo area, especially the port city is coming up in 2022. I think it's completed by 2022, and the Colombo Airport Highway is going to extend up to Port City.
Right.
So that will create a huge boom in Negombo, because most of the Port City is going to be a commercial hub, and there are a lot of investments happening there. Foreign companies are investing.
Right.
So there will be a huge workforce involved in that area.
Right.
And Colombo apartments and the accommodation is very costly. And the second option for them to be in Negombo.
And then come back on, get into the highway,
Exactly, yeah.
and
So
come
it's
back
30
to
minutes
30
drive
minutes
time.
drive time without a traffic
Yeah,
congestion.
and Negombo area, there are so many developments happening. There are a lot of hotels, Hilton, and there's a 5-star hotel starting from, that's a branch of Kingsbury Hotel.
Yes, part of the valuable one group.
Exactly, and a lot of apartment projects are also at the construction stage these
So
days.
they are aiming for that traffic, I think,
Exactly, yeah.
because the connection between Negombo and Colombo city, Port City,
Yeah.
and to get that
Yes.
income. And most importantly, Negombo is just 10 minutes away from the
Airport.
main international airport in the country. So that is another driving factor
Yeah,
to
that's
have investment
another
in
driving
there.
factor, because the tourism actually starts there.
Right.
And
Also,
ends
it
there.
ends there as
Yeah.
well.
So people who are coming from Melbourne Airport, they stay in Negombo, and then they start their journey from Negombo, and they end the
Go
journey
around
from
the country and
around
come
the country, and they end the journey at Negombo as well.
And then get on the flight and go back.
Yeah.
So that is a huge, very important point when you're selecting. So we are trying to educate our viewers. If you are trying to invest in Sri Lanka, do that. This is very good for the country, because this country needs foreign currency. If you are investing in Sri Lanka, your earnings in Australia, that will be good, but make sure that you are investing in the right project. So then it is safeguarded, and also still in this markets, you can find good projects which you can easily rentable, gain a lot of rental income. At the same time, that will generate capital growth over a time because of these development projects.
Yeah, now
And
especially in Sri Lanka, now a lot of tourists, they prefer apartments over hotels.
Right.
Simply because it's very convenient, and that suits their lifestyle also. And if they're coming as a group,
then they can stay.
Yeah, rather than staying in number of hotel rooms.
That reduces the cost of
Exactly, yeah.
the package or the holiday they're coming to the country.
And Negombo area is very famous for that, because even small boutique apartments are booked right throughout the year, simply because of the tourism.
Right.
And even the hotels are booked, but nowadays tourists, foreigners, they prefer apartments over hotels.
Right. And another positive side of this economic situation in the country at the moment, if our rupee is getting weaker, but that is in the other way, it's helping our tourism industry as well, because going to Sri Lanka and spending and staying there will be less expensive compared to what it was 4 or 5 months ago, and that will continue, I guess.
Yes.
So it is another way that foreigners coming in the tourists, and our government should focus on that and try and improve that traffic, and then get more foreign currency into the country. Because at the moment, all our foreign reserves are reducing dramatically because of the currency conversion rate between US dollar.
Yes.
So this is how you can turn around, try to bring more foreign currency into the country with the advantages of you having. And also another thing, Thikshan, I think when our rupee is getting weaker, so our export market could raise, because buying power from outside of Sri Lanka from Sri Lankan items will be cheaper. Exactly. So for example, 5 months ago, if someone buying a product made in Sri Lanka, if it cost $1, now it's costing less than just a little over $0.50. So that's a huge advantage, and this is what I think our politicians should focus on, to get more foreign currency into the country.
Yeah, correct. That applies for the apartments as well, because especially foreigners investing in Sri Lanka, they're investing in dollars, and apartments priced in rupees.
Right.
Actually, their investment is much more lower compared to a few months back.
Right.
So that actually, from the foreigners' point of view, that's a very good deal for them at this stage, investing in Sri Lanka, because your local currency conversion rate, if you're looking at US dollars, your investment is much more lower.
Right. Now that is a great point to consider if you're investing in Sri Lanka. And also there are so many avenues that we can improve our foreign reserves and foreign income to the country, rather than, at the moment, I think country is looking at restricting to rupee going out of the country, which is good. But at the same time, I think we should more focus on how to bring more foreign currency or double your foreign income coming into the country. That's where you can get out of this crisis, I guess. But
Yeah.
Tikshana, now we talked about the current economic situation, yet we can, I mean, in that dark cloud, we have a silver line we can utilize and we can leverage out of that. And so we talked about 333 Pinnacle, which is start construction, piling is almost completed, bank funding already released. So the project is going about. It is situated in the Great Negombo location. It's
Beachfront.
enormous beachfront
And its
location.
piling is done by a very reputed company, Sunken.
Sunken,
So
and
it's-
it is behind by the reputed developer as well. So all these, it's Pinnacle Residencies. So all these plus points will help our viewers to make a decision on this as well. But before we talk about the Pinnacle project, Tikshana, let's look at a video of the project. Then you can really understand what is the location, what kind of a project that is going off, and the quality of the development as well. Let's look at the short video of the 333 Pinnacle Negombo, and we'll come back and talk about more on this situation, how to leverage and how to get more advantage out of your investments in Sri Lanka. We'll come back.
Paradise doesn't have to.
Welcome back to Square Feet again. And I think you all have looked at that video about the 333 Pinnacle. It is a beachfront Negombo development luxury apartment project with lots of facilities. I think the best person to talk about the facilities is Tikshana here. Tikshana, can you tell us what facilities we have in that development and what inclusions our buyers can get on this project?
Sure. So this is a beachfront project. Altogether, there are about 202 apartments. So the building consists of 17 levels. Top floor is in penthouses. So at the fourth level, you get all the common facilities like gymnasium, the pool, spa, saunas. Then you have conference rooms.
Right.
And also there are two courtyards.
Right.
It's open to sky.
Right.
So you can enjoy the
Natural ventilation.
outside the environment inside the apartment.
Right.
And also if you look at the apartment itself, it's a hub. I can say it's a future-proof building where you get all the high-tech inclusions. All the car parks will get provisions for electric car chargers, which
Right.
is not common in
That
Sri
is the
Lanka.
future for vehicles. Yes.
And you get biometrics entrance, door keys, then the LED paneled switches,
Right.
top-end kitchen appliances. So it comes with a completed, fully equipped kitchen.
So you're not getting anything you don't have to do or buy once you purchase.
No.
It comes with everything.
No,
Right.
that's correct. So starting from microwaves to ovens, dishwashers, everything is there.
Right.
And the homogeneous tiles and top-end bathroom inclusions. So it's a high luxury project.
Yet the pricing is affordable.
Yeah, it's reasonably priced. And looking at the return on your investment, it's quite high because the Negombo area, if you look at the short-term rental market, it's daily rates and weekly rates are quite high.
Right.
So if you look at your investment versus the rental return you're getting, compared to other suburbs, even compared to Australia, this investment you are getting a very high rental return.
Right. And I think Diksha, you have done my property have done a European tour. A lot of European customers,
Yes,
especially
correct.
from Sweden and those countries,
Correct.
purchasing
There's
these
a
apartments.
huge demand from, especially from Europe and even from Australia. From an investor's point of view, especially if they are investing, they could be foreigners, could be expats. If they are investing in dollars or in foreign currency, we facilitate the entire process. The Sri Lankan banks we will they can open up a secure investment account where
That's
they
called
can
SI.
account.
Yeah.
They can put their funds through that bank and pay to the developer.
Right.
And they can actually keep the property under their name.
Right.
And in a certain point in time, if they want to sell it,
Right.
through that account, they can bring all the funds back to their country.
Right.
So especially in this situation, if you're looking at the dollar rate and the fluctuations in the Sri Lankan economy, you invest now, and if you keep this investment for certain years, at the same time you're getting a high rental return.
Right.
And then
What sort of a rental return is expected, forecasted, Tikshana?
so minimum you will get about, if you look at the property price, about 10 to 12% rental return.
Right,
which
that is great.
huge. I mean, the average in the other countries are about 5%.
Right.
So this is in Nigamo minimum you can get that about 10 to 12%
Right.
rental return.
And so another proposition of buying a property on this is you can furnish and you can rent it out in Airbnb, foreigners, tourism.
Yes.
They can book it and they can utilize this, and from my property we can manage the rental.
Yes, correct.
And they can get
Yeah.
the
So you
rental
will,
income.
I mean, if you purchase a property, then my property will manage the property, and we will rent it out. We manage the rent. We do the inspections. And if you are willing to, if you are spending your holiday in Sri Lanka during that time period, you can block your dates.
Right.
And you can come and stay there.
So we can, and also especially for our Melbourne viewers, if you investing in Sri Lanka, make sure that you invest through SIA account.
Yes.
That means once you sell your apartment, without going through the central bank regulations, you can take that money out of the
Straight away.
country. That is the way to do that, and make sure that you do that. If you are investing in Sri Lanka, you can talk to us. We can guide you through the entire process. Yeah. And also, the other thing is, now in Sri Lanka, if you reserve apartment at the time of its completion, if the property price has increased, you can sell at a higher price.
Yes, correct.
And
So a lot of people are doing that.
A lot of people are doing that.
So you pay the initial deposit and you go through the payment plan.
Right.
But any point in time, if you want to sell it,
you can decide the selling price.
Exactly. Yeah.
So most of the investors, once the project is sold off and then no more available, then you can advertise at a higher price. That's
Yes.
happening in Sri Lanka.
Correct.
And there are so many buyers that are willing to buy. And once you purchased, even if you thinking of selling, my property can facilitate that process as well.
Yes, we can.
Which is another way of another advantage of investing in Sri Lanka. Again, if you are investing, make sure that you're selecting the right project. Make sure something has already started. So that is the difference with 333 Pinnacle. It is already started. Piling has almost completed, I think,
Yes.
Tikshana.
Almost completed. We will be starting the structure starting from December.
Right.
Yeah.
And just price range quickly, Tikshana.
Price range is it's one bedrooms are starting from about 15 million rupees. That is
Right.
about 120,000 Australian dollars.
Right.
Two bedrooms are about 25. Three bedders are about 30.
Right.
And then penthouses are starting from about 60 million.
And also great news for Australians. HSBC is a global bank, and if you are a customer here, and if you are a premier customer, then you are a global premier.
Yes.
So the banks can talk to each other, link, and then they can facilitate the money transferring between the two countries of the premier customers. At the same time, the money, if you're transferring from here, this is a timing to because Aussie dollar is now doing great at the moment, so you can send them and purchase this apartment as well. So that's about Pinnacle 333, and at the moment, what percentage has been already sold off?
We started we did the launch a couple of months back. Now it's about 40%.
Is completion.
So, yeah.
That is really great. And expected completion of the project is
4th quarter of 2020.
Right, great. That is about 333 Pinnacle, and that is, we talked about the Sri Lankan economy, and in this economic situation, what kind of projects you should looking at it, and be careful when you're selecting. If you want to get more information or advices or insight about the Sri Lankan property market and investing in Sri Lankan property, talk to us. You can send an email to us on info@dwellingsgroup.com.au or give us a call 1300 314 310. We are happy to help you. We are the only real estate company in Melbourne which has offices operating in Melbourne and Sri Lanka. We can facilitate both sides. That is about the Pinnacle 333. We are going to go for a small break and we'll come back. Thank you very much. Welcome back to Square Feet, and you just seen a quick video about Lilix South Melbourne project, which is a boutique apartment project going ahead in South Melbourne. And in Melbourne, Thikshana, now the lot of high rises going out, and yet in Melbourne CBD we haven't seen a huge capital growth. So that is a problem with our investors historically, and most of the high-rise apartment projects forecasting 5% capital growth, but yet some projects struggling to achieve that.
Yeah.
So to overcome that problem, the advice is to go for boutique apartment projects if you are going to CBD apartment. Boutique means it's not high-rise, it's maximum up to 7 or 9 levels. So the developers will put extra attention to these projects, will have extra inclusions, the qualities, luxury items, therefore the value of the apartments going ahead.
Yeah,
going
compared to city apartments now, I think most of the top high-end suburbs, the capital growth is much higher.
Right.
So apartments closer to universities, schools, those kind of boutique apartments actually are appreciating compared to city apartments.
Right. And this kind of South Melbourne boutique apartment, it's lifestyle apartments. It's targeted for owner occupiers rather than students or investors.
Yeah.
So because of that, it attracts a lot of inclusions and facilities on these projects.
Yeah, and especially the body corporate fee is very low compared to other projects.
Right.
And from an overseas point of view also, I think now the Aussie dollar is actually in a stable level compared to US dollar. It's 0.7, but in next 12 months they predict it to go up. So this is a really good time to invest in Australian projects.
Even if
because
someone investing from outside,
from overseas,
Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Dubai, I think we are getting a lot of calls.
Yeah.
So this is the time to bring your money here because the Aussie dollar is not that high.
Predicted to-
Predictions are to go up in next couple of months.
Yes.
So then it's the time to invest here. And also for people who buying from Sri Lanka or overseas, HSBC Bank, we are now partnered. We are offering finance up to 60%. So to buy these properties, so that means you are actually funding a project from money sitting here.
Correct,
And that way you can get a higher capital growth in these projects. So if you're selecting this kind of a boutique projects will really benefit especially in terms of the capital growth as well as the location, close to beach, close to main attraction, Crown Casino, and also tram ride to universities, University of
Schools.
Melbourne, RMIT, and also high rated schools in the CBD. Melbourne city limits are closer to South Melbourne. So that's why we picked this, and also proudly, Dwellings Group is the exclusive marketing agents for Sri Lankan region. So anyone wants to buy these apartment projects, talk to us. We can get special rates and special considerations for your inquiries as the exclusive marketing by agents for this project. And Deekshana, most importantly, we will be launching this project in Colombo, Cinnamon Grand, 17th and 18th November.
Correct.
The whole team, also Australian team will be there, the conveyancers, our team will be there to facilitate. And also we are putting this project in Colombo, especially because we have got of inquiries from Dubai and Singapore, Malaysia, this economic situation.
Most of
They want
our
to come.
clientele, especially expats living in Dubai, Malaysia, Singapore, they are also attending this event.
Attending this event, and it is a great opportunity for our country as well. They will be going there, not only looking at this project, they will be spending money and enjoying our tourism. And at the same time, we are promoting Sri Lanka as a hub to that region.
Yeah.
So therefore, this is a great project. So we, the Dwellings Group and my property team will be there in Cinnamon Grand Hotel, 17th and 18th of November. If you want to invite your friends and family, want to discuss about the Australian projects, then come and talk to us. Conveyancers, finance agents, and also bank funding. All these facilities will be offered at the event.
Correct.
And we are looking forward to seeing you in 17th and 18th of November at Cinnamon Grand. And then we will be talking about more on this special project in South Melbourne, Lilix boutique apartments. And I think our time is running out. Thank you for staying with us and watching our interesting facts and figures about Sri Lankan economic conditions and property market and South Melbourne great boutique apartments. We'll come back again on another episode of Square Feet next time. Thank you, Tikshana.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.